we have to talk about one of my favorite, if not my favorite, no, for sure my favorite Lions coach in my young history that I can remember. Jim Caldwell. Like, what a guy. Stop.
I'm not going to let you continue like this.
Everyone in the locker room loved him.
No.
He was a wonderful human
Nobody likes
being,
a loser, Kennedy.
The most winningest coach in decades.
Winningest of nothing. Winning of nothing. Nobody in the locker room likes a guy that's 4-23 against winning teams.
Okay, anyway, here we go. So, you guys, were the Lions wrong to fire Caldwell when they did? I think it was a little early, but Jeff, help me out here.
Well,
what do you think?
Let's get this straight. There's flaws in Jim Caldwell. I'm not going to sit here and say he should still be the head coach to this day, but the question is, did we fire him prematurely? And I think I would rather have Jim Caldwell the years we had Matt Patricia, in my opinion. Like, at least you fired the man after 9-7 seasons, and then you got 6-10 out of Matt Patricia. You got 5-12. It's, in my opinion, I thought we saw more. I think the offense was 7th in points scored total the year he was fired. So, in my opinion, you saw the team digress the last 2-3 years after Jim Caldwell. Obviously Matt Patricia completely tanked the team's, to statistics, the defensive guru that, a lot of people thought we had when we hired him. I never liked Matt Patricia the minute we hired him. Not that I loved Jim Caldwell, but I felt Jim Caldwell in that 2-year window, 3-year window was at least a better option than Matt Patricia. I mean, yes, I don't think the Lions regret it at this point because they're hoping Dan Campbell works out, of course. They're already moved on from the decision. But if you're asking me, did they fire him prematurely? I mean, 9-7, you fire him, and then Matt Patricia completely takes your team down the gutter. The obvious answer would be to at least give him the time you gave Matt Patricia, because that hire made absolutely no sense.
You know what? This Matt Patricia slander is so justified. It's actually unreal. But I've got to say, considering Matt Patricia took over the 32nd ranked defense in terms of yards allowed and boosted them up all the way to 10th his first year, is that not good? Granted, they finished 31st and 32nd the years following. Of course, it went to crap. But let's not forget, Jim Caldwell peaked year 1, 11-5. He had the number 2 defense in the NFL, and then after that, he had the number 29 defense, the 32nd, and the 30th ranked defense in that time. Unbelievable. And then you look at the run game. Jim Caldwell, your savior. 29th, 32nd, 30th, and 32nd. Hell of a coach. Record against winning teams, do I really have to bring this up? 4-23, 0 division titles, 0 playoff wins. Hit the locker room loved him, Adam. Last I checked, locker rooms don't like losing. They actually like winning meaningful games, not losing to the Vikings and the Packers and the Bears over and over and over and over and over again, and starting your second year 0-5, then finishing the regular season 7-2, so you finish with a 7-9 record, then you go 9-7 the following year, 9-7 the following year, all by Matthew Stafford carrying you with fourth quarter comebacks during that stretch. But no, it's all Jim Caldwell. He was amazing. Was it premature?
That's the.
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
They peaked with Matt Patricia. They peaked with Jim Caldwell. They peaked with him. You weren't getting anything more than 9 wins. And I promise you, if they would have kept him, he would have won the same amount of games, if not, at the most 7 games with that Detroit Lions team. Matt Patricia, I'm not saying he was a better option, but the decision at the time was the right decision. The guy gave you nothing. And you were in a position coming off a 9-7 season where you expected, if you brought in qualified, better head coaching and a better coaching staff, that it would result in a better future for you. Well, it didn't. You actually got the decision wrong on who you brought in. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to sit here and defend Jim Caldwell. No, just because he's the best we've ever had. Shut up. No, he hasn't. No, he isn't actually. He has the best record in the Lions history. What does that mean? Wayne Fontes. All right, if you want to eliminate he stayed way too long. And he stayed for the years where the team was actually very, very bad. So let's not just look at, he has the best winning percentage in Lions history. It's not saying much. The Lions suck for 60 years. Saying you have the best winning record in Lions history isn't saying much. So last I checked, it was Fonts, who delivered playoff wins. Fonts, who went to an NFC championship game. Fonts, who won the division. So if you want to bring up best Lions coaches, it's Fonts.
But Caldwell's...
Wow. You accomplished nothing in 4 years. You took over a really good roster. Yeah. You peaked with them by throwing away the division your first year. You should have won the division. You lost. You threw that away. You lost in the playoffs that year. You show up the next year, start off 0-5, go 7-9. Then you bounce back with 9-7 years. I'm supposed to throw out the red carpet for you, Jim Caldwell.
Not at all.
God bless you. You are the second best coach in Lions history. Oh my goodness! Shut up!
Not at all.
Shut up!
You don't got to react like that. I mean, honestly, we can agree to this. He's definitely the second best coach in Lions history. But it's not saying much. It isn't. You're right. But 2 playoff appearances. We haven't won since 91. Haven't sniffed a playoff game in 4 years. And you give Matt Patricia 3 years, and you got nothing but atrociousness out of all 3 years. He peaked at 6-10. So in my argument, you keep Caldwell for the 2 to 3 years. Did anybody really believe Caldwell would be there?
Did anybody believe Caldwell would take them over to the next step?
You just finishing my sentences for me. Did anyone believe he was going to take him to the promised land? No.
So why the hell is he your head coach?
Did anyone believe Matt Patricia would take you to the promised land? No.
But when they hired him,
I never thought that.
Okay, you never thought that.
No. Who did?
When the decision was made, stop trying to retract history as if it didn't happen. Let's call a spade a spade. When Matt Patricia was hired, the objective and the message was to take the Lions to the next step, correct? Was that the intention, yes or no?
That was
the intention. Was it a botched move? Absolutely.
Yeah.
No one can defend that.
Right.
But that was the intention, and they totally got it wrong. They completely got it wrong. And here they are now back in another freaking rebuild. But the point is, they didn't believe, and nor should they have believed, that Jim Caldwell was the guy to win them a division, win them the playoff game. And Bob Quinn's demise was hiring Matt freaking Patricia. It's that simple. The Lions, notorious bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
Right.
How does this elevate or justify Jim Caldwell? It doesn't. This is like the Mark Jackson argument. How does Mark Jackson build the Golden State Warriors into a 50-win team, get into the second round, and then somehow Steve Kerr walks in and they become a 70-win team in 2 years and they're winning 3 championships.
Well, they were getting older and older every single year. They were getting progressively better. Yeah,
that was the step the Lions tried taking. They were 9-7. Hey, we think this guy or whoever it was before Matt Patricia, the next head coach is going to take us to 10, 11, 12 wins. We're going to win a division and win a playoff game. That was the intention. It didn't work out that way, but my friends, that was the intention. And if you actually believe Jim Caldwell would have stuck around a year and would have done anything, you're sadly mistaken. They would have won 6 or 7 games with Jim Caldwell that following year, and then he would have gotten fired that year. So I'm not sure what else I can tell you outside of he was never it. So get over it. Get over the Jim Caldwell thing.
It's not about, I think, would you agree to this? All right, and I get, listen, Jim Caldwell wasn't, the best head coach in Detroit Lions history. We can get that straight. But certainly, 4-23 against winning teams, you can say all that. That obviously shows that he might not have never taken the Detroit Lions to the promised land if you have those kinds of records against playoff teams. But at the end of the day, you have a guy who, and I don't like saying the players loved him and everything. Like, obviously, there was clock management issues. There was other things with Jim Caldwell. But more importantly, 9-7 to a team that, looking back on it,
don't you dare say it was an awful team.
No, it wasn't an awful team. I'm saying, like, yes, he underperformed. He probably should have went 11-5, whatever the case may be. But looking back on it, the mediocrity we've had since then to even fire Jim Caldwell and say that's the right decision. We have Dan Campbell now, of course. Hopefully,
hindsight, it was wrong to fire Jim Caldwell and what you got after. But in theory, firing him for what you were trying to accomplish was the correct move. There's a big difference, guys. There's a big difference between firing someone with the intention of getting better and firing someone with the intention of getting worse. They didn't fire Jim Caldwell thinking that they were going to get worse. Come on, be real with yourselves here. No,
but it's a tough ask, though.
No. Again, it's only 4 games into the season.
Yeah.
But Jim Caldwell lived 4 seasons with Matthew Stafford. He had 4 seasons with him. This is what I mean by where was the head coach that you just look back at and be like, wow, the Detroit Lions had this guy as their head coach. It wasn't even Jim Caldwell, guys.
But he's one of the only guys you
that's
can't
not
even...
saying much because it's all garbage.
I know, but it says more about the franchise.
No, that's mediocrity. You're accepting mediocrity from the coach and the
But
franchise.
it's always been
unacceptable.
mediocrity, and the Jim Caldwell's been the only thing besides Wayne Fonts that have brought anything.
What has he brought? He brought nothing.
You haven't won a playoff game, but 2 playoff appearances. We haven't won since '91.
Oh, so it's the playoff appearances we want
If
now.
you keep getting to the playoffs, you're bound to win.
Man,
I mean,
you sound
we can
like
at least
stick right now. That is hilarious. You know how no. You don't just get to the playoffs, get killed, and bounced out right away every single time. That's not progress.
So
progress
you'd rather
isn't
have
going,
6 and 10,
progress
5
isn't
and
going
11.
11-5, 7-9, 9-7-9. That's not progress. The team was mediocre at best, and they had a franchise quarterback who could beat the bad teams, and they didn't have a team, a head coach, or a quarterback that could beat the good teams. That's just the facts. They never had a head coach that could help overcome any of that, and that's just the reality. We got to go to break, Kennedy.
I hate this conversation. I still love Jim Caldwell.
You guys can love him all you want. You can love mediocrity. Keep it up. You'll go another 6 years without winning anything.
11-5. I mean, second most wins in my history.
Wow, what an accomplishment.
Let us not forget.
What an
I'm
accomplishment.
just saying, let us not forget. All right, coming
Let
up
us
next.
not forget the nothing that happened
he
in
was
4
fired
years.
prematurely. That's my argument. I don't love him.
Agreed.
He
I
was
agree
fired
with Jeff.
prematurely. That's the fact.
Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about Michigan and Michigan State. So stick around for that, all you college football fans.